Good evening. 13 years, 4 wooden spoons, 3 championships, 1 historic treble, and 1 Mike Charlesworth. Tonight, the era is officially over. Welcome to a special edition of the CCM Fans Report. I'm Arthur Fischel.
And I'm Martha Fischel. It's actually happened, Arthur. Mike has stepped away. The books are closed.
Indeed. A tenure that began with a rescue and ended with a treble, with a significant amount of turbulence in between.
Turbulence is putting it mildly, but we made it through.
We did. And tonight, we conduct a forensic audit of the entire timeline. The good, the bad, and the bizarre. Let us turn our attention to the financial abyss of March 2013, a moment of supreme contradiction.
At the time, we didn't really know, did we? We were just focused on the football. We had no idea how bad it was getting upstairs.
Precisely. On the pitch, the team was punching well above its weight, days away from the finals campaign that would deliver the club's first championship.
It was surreal looking back. We were all cheering for Arnie and the boys, completely oblivious that the club was literally running out of cash to pay them.
The books were in a perilous state. Insolvency was not a theory, it was an imminent reality. Wages were unpaid. A multi-million-dollar debt to the tax office was looming.
And we only found out later just how close we came. We were celebrating wins while the administration was desperately trying to keep the lights on. It's scary to think about now.
It was a race against time. The club was in danger of not making it to that grand final at all. And then, the intervention, Mike Charlesworth.
The knight in shining armor, or at least the knight with a checkbook.
He injected $5 million of personal capital. He cleared the debts. He paid the salaries.
He stopped the bleeding just in time for us to lift the toilet seat.
He finalized the takeover just 1 week after that grand final triumph. Peter Turnbull stepped aside, and Mr. Charlesworth took the helm.
Say what you want about what came after, but in that moment, he saved us. No Mike, no Mariners. Simple as that.
However, the rescue came with a distinct condition. The era of financial sustainability had begun.
Sustainability. That is a very polite word for we have no money, Arthur.
It was a necessary pivot. The club operated on a shoestring. We frequently spent at the salary cap floor rather than the ceiling.
We were running on the smell of an oily rag. It wasn't just budget, it was bargain bin. We were signing players whose main attribute was that they were affordable.
It was a pragmatic approach. Mr. Charlesworth was based in the UK. He openly admitted that distance made day-to-day oversight difficult.
Difficult? He was a ghost. We had an owner we never saw, running a club from the other side of the planet.
He placed his trust in local CEOs to manage the deficit. But the austerity measures had a wider impact than just the men's first 11.
That is the part people forget. It wasn't just about cheap imports. It was about who wasn't there at all.
The women's team. They had been withdrawn from the National League in 2010, just prior to his full takeover.
And because we were in survival mode for so long, they never came back. For a decade, we were only half a club.
The financial logic was cold but clear. The club could not afford 2 elite programs while fighting off insolvency.
Logic doesn't help when you're a young girl on the coast with nowhere to play. We lost a whole generation of talent because we were too broke to give them a kit.
If the early years were defined by austerity, the middle years were defined by something far worse: irrelevance.
The spoon years. I still wake up in a cold sweat thinking about them.
The statistics are harrowing. Between 2015 and 2020, the Central Coast Mariners claimed 4 wooden spoons in 5 seasons.
We were collecting them. It got to the point where I stopped looking at the ladder because I knew we'd be at the bottom. It was just a question of how deep the hole was.
The depth was alarming. 2 separate seasons finishing on just 13 points. We were conceding goals at a rate that defied mathematical probability.
It was the walk of shame every Monday morning at work, walking into the office, head down, hoping no one would ask about the score.
And why would they? The scores were repetitive, an 11-game losing streak, and of course, the twin disasters.
Don't say it.
The 8-2 defeat at home, followed inexplicably by another 8-2 defeat the very next season.
2 of them. We lost 8-2 twice. The opposition fans loved that one. I'd 8-2 be a Mariners fan. That joke still haunts me.
A pun based on a catastrophic defensive failure, the lowest form of wit, yet painfully accurate. A football writer called us the worst professional club in Australian sport.
And the worst part, he wasn't wrong.
The dugout became a revolving door. Phil Moss, Tony Walmsley, Paul Ocon, Mike Mulvey.
Every pre-season we had new hope, a new manager, a new philosophy. And by round 6, we were back to losing 4-0 and arguing on the forum.
It was a thin line between persistence and oblivion, and for 5 years the club walked it with a blindfold on. Now, while the results on the pitch were, shall we say, suboptimal, the boardroom adopted a different strategy. If we could not afford to win football matches, we would win the battle for attention.
The circus years. I didn't know whether to buy a membership or a ticket to the big top.
Mr. Charlesworth was an innovator. He understood that in a crowded market, relevance is currency. Hence, the Usain Bolt experiment.
Experiment. That's one word for it. We had the fastest man on earth, and we still played slow football.
The metrics were undeniable. For 8 weeks in 2018, the eyes of the sporting world were fixed on Gosford. We were on the BBC, ESPN, CNN. It was a branding masterclass.
Arthur, he was a sprinter. He had the first touch of a trampoline. We were all cheering because he scored 2 goals in a friendly against a pub team, but deep down, we knew it was a farce.
A commercial solution could not be reached. But he was not the only attempt at global outreach. We engaged Harry Redknapp as a football consultant.
Oh, don't. Please don't.
A manager of immense pedigree.
He went on English radio and called us the South Coast Mariners. He didn't even know where we were. He never even got on the plane, Arthur. It was a consulting gig he did from his sofa.
And then there were the aesthetic choices. The Palm Tree Kit initiative, designed to reflect our coastal identity.
It looked like Sideshow Bob. Within 5 minutes, someone on Twitter had put the hair on it, and we were a laughing stock. We weren't a football club anymore. We were a meme.
Even the partnership with Mike Phelan and the proposed Centre of Excellence were ambitious attempts to elevate the club's standing.
Ambitious, maybe, but they all just faded away. Everything was a stunt to generate revenue because we were too broke to just be a normal football club.
It was unconventional, yes, but it kept the name Central Coast Mariners in the headlines.
For all the wrong reasons. I just wanted to read a headline that said, Mariners win game. Was that too much to ask?
We arrive now at the Nadir, New Year's Eve, 2018.
The night the circus actually came to town. It wasn't a football match, Arthur. It was a blooper reel broadcast live.
It was a catalogue of administrative failures. We began with a snapped goalpost.
We were watching groundsmen try to fix a professional goal with gaffer tape. It took 40 minutes. I've seen better maintenance at a Sunday pub league.
Then, the pyrotechnics. The New Year's fireworks display was scheduled for 9 p.m. The match, delayed by the goalpost, was still in progress.
The game was still going on. We were playing through a smoke haze like it was a war zone. You couldn't see the ball, just the giant Masterfood sauce bottles looming in the mist.
The broadcast also captured a child in the crowd waving a toy gun, a surreal image for a family sporting event.
And don't forget the wildlife. A section of the stand was cordoned off because an eastern osprey had decided to nest there.
A protected species of raptor. The stadium was literally returning to nature while we played in it.
That bird had better positioning than our centre-backs, to be fair.
It culminated in Daniel McBreen's now legendary analysis on the live broadcast. Thinking his microphone was off, he described the team's performance with brutal honesty.
He called us effing dog shit, live on air.
It was a profanity, but it was also a peer-reviewed fact.
He spoke for all of us, Arthur. If a club can survive that night, the tape, the smoke, the bird and the swearing, we can survive anything.
In 2020, Charlesworth signalled his intent to sell. He held out for a buyer committed to the region, eventually handing the reins to local businessman Richard Peel.
The Peel era. It felt like a fever dream, didn't it?
It was a period of extreme volatility, but one that contained the highest highs this club has ever seen.
Alan Stadgic didn't just stabilize the ship, Arthur. He stopped it sinking. And then Nick Montgomery turned it into a war machine.
Ah, yes, the 2023 Grand Final against Melbourne City, a 6-1 victory.
6-1. We didn't just win, we destroyed them. It was the single greatest night of my life. Cummings, Silvera, Inkololo, Moresh. For 90 minutes, we weren't the failed club anymore. We were untouchable.
And it did not end there. Montgomery departed, and Mark Jackson arrived. After a rocky start, he delivered the impossible, a historic treble in 2024. The Premiership, the Championship, and the AFC Cup.
Jacko. We doubted him, Arthur. We thought he was another dodgy English import. But he won us the continent. We were the kings of Asia.
But gravity, as always, asserted itself. Behind the scenes, the structure was being dismantled. The back office was gutted. Resources were stripped.
That's the hangover, isn't it? Peel came in, we won everything, and then he just vanished. He bailed on us, Arthur, left us with a financial mess that landed right back in Mike's lap.
A right mess, unquestionably. He was expected to be the long-term successor, yet his tenure was brief and ended in resignation.
But even in that chaos, he did one thing right, one thing that actually stuck.
You refer to the reinstatement of the women's program.
The missing piece. After 13 years of nothing, the girls finally came home, and they didn't just return, they won the championship.
A lasting legacy from a turbulent interregnum. The club was finally whole again. So, we reach the final adjudication. How do we judge a decade that contained both wooden spoons and gold medals?
It's complicated. He wasn't a hero in the traditional sense. He didn't kiss babies, and he certainly didn't buy us a marquee striker.
He was an absentee landlord. He couldn't afford to buy us a title, but he refused to let us go bankrupt.
He was stubborn, and while many of us were screaming, "Just sell the club," deep down we understood why he waited. We knew the risk. Selling to just anyone could have meant the club moving to North Sydney or Canberra.
He protected the license. That is the indisputable fact. He refused to liquidate the asset for quick profit if it meant the destruction of the club's identity.
He held the line. It was ugly, it was stressful, and sometimes it was downright embarrassing, but he didn't let us die.
He inherited a club on the brink of collapse and handed it over as a secure, treble-winning enterprise.
You don't have to love him, you don't even have to like him, but you have to thank him. He kept the lights on long enough for us to shine again.
A fair assessment. The file is closed. Until next time, this has been the CCM Fans Report.